Is stretching the front splits and middle splits safe after hip surgery? The short answer is no, but I'm going to take you through a safe stretching routine in this video that uses loaded stretching and antagonist muscle end range contractions. See, passive stretching alone will make the hips weak because after surgery, we need to rebuild strength and stability. The deep squat, cossack squat, and split squat are my go-to exercises to strengthen your hips. And if you train full range of motion, you will also get better at the front splits and middle splits. How cool is that? This is a hugely overlooked part of flexibility development, and I recommend doing each of these exercises once a week for 3 to 5 sets. Now, for a safe stretching routine that you can do right now, even after hip surgery, for the front splits and middle splits, we're going to start with working on hip flexor flexibility for the front splits. And we're going to do an end range antagonistic muscle contraction. So we'll get down on our hands and knees like this, and you're going to raise one leg behind you like this. But what we want to do, I'm just making sure I've got room here. I want you to get into a posterior pelvic tilt like this, so you're going to engage your abs, because we want to avoid doing this with your back. And then from here, we're going to straighten one leg out, lift that leg as hard as you can and hold for 10 seconds. Now you're really trying to lift as high as you can without getting that posterior pelvic tilt. Another 5 more seconds. Nice work. Okay, and now we go straight into a hip flexor stretch. And what we're going to do here is we're going to, again, posterior pelvic tilt, bring this foot in front of the knee, and we're going to lean forward so you feel the stretch in the hip flexors. You can grab onto something, so I'll just grab onto my shelf here. And now I'm going to drive this leg back for 5 seconds. So I'm using these muscles here, the hamstrings, the hip extensors, the glutes. Okay, 5 seconds, relax. Now I'm going to try and pull my knee forward as hard as I can, okay? So I'm pulling it forward using the hip flexors. So contract for 5 seconds, relax, regain that posterior pelvic tilt, get into the stretch, use the hamstrings and glutes. Okay, 5 seconds. Okay, back down now. Contract the hip flexors, so pulling that knee forward as hard as you can for 5 seconds. Nice, and now lean into it as far as you can. And what we're doing while we hold this stretch now, so the extension lift where you're on all fours, it's creating an antagonistic muscle contraction. So the glutes, the hamstrings, which are the opposing muscles to the hip flexors. And because we're doing that at end range, it creates strength at end range, but it also triggers the Golgi tendon organ, which is a part of the nervous system. And its function is to sense when a load is too much, and it shuts down the body's ability to contract muscles, which basically allows you to hack the nervous system and get instant flexibility improvements. Then we go straight into that hip flexor stretch, and we're doing end range contractions, and we're doing contractions on the hip flexors. And both of those things together, it's basically just an awesome way to hack the nervous system and get really fast flexibility results. It's safe because we're not doing passive stretching, right? We're doing loaded stretching here. Now, we're going to get onto the other side. So from here, make sure I'm not going to hit the wall. Okay, posterior pelvic tilt. Okay, straighten the leg out and lift, and we hold for 1, 2, 3. Lift as hard as you can. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Nice work. Okay, now come forward. Try to get that foot in front of the knee. Posterior pelvic tilt. Lean into it so you feel the stretch. Hold on to something for support. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Now try and pull the knee forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Posterior pelvic tilt. Again. Drive that foot back using the hip extensors. 2, 3, 4, 5. Relax. Posterior pelvic tilt. And now pull that knee forward as hard as you can. 2, 3, 4, 5. Nice. And now we just sink right down into that passive stretch. Okay. Now what you'd do is you'd actually do this for, if you want to get best results, for 3 sets. Okay. So you would go back and repeat exactly what I just did there for 3 sets. But so that I can just show you what you need to do for this video, we're going to move on to the hamstrings now, okay? And then we're also going to do some middle splits, okay? So we'll get onto the hamstrings in just a sec. We'll finish this 30-second passive stretch where we're just dropping the those hips forward, dragging into it, getting into the hip flexors. If you've got any questions about any of this, just put them in the comments. I answer all the questions on this channel. And of course, if you like the video, click like and subscribe. I'm just going to grab something here. Okay, so I've just got a jumper here, but you know, a towel is probably better. I didn't think of it before I started recording. So what we're going to do now for the hamstrings, first we're going to do the antagonistic muscle contraction in the hip flexors now, and then we're going to do the flexibility exercise for the hamstrings. So I'm going to show you the easier way and the harder way. So the easier way, if you have less strength and flexibility than I do, then you'd lean back and just put your hands where you can balance, and you're just going to lift your legs and hold for 10 seconds. If you're more flexible, then what you'll do is you'll go down to your passive range and then back it off a little bit, and then you do the same thing, okay? But we're gonna hold for 10 seconds, and this is gonna be really hard for me to talk while I do this. Keep the knees straight, point the toes, tense the quads, tense the hip flexors, lift as hard as you can for 10 seconds. Ready, set, go. That's 5, come on, let's go. Woo! All right, now I'm going to show you the version if you weren't as flexible as me. So for me, I'd grab onto my feet and do it like this, but let's imagine or presume that you're not as flexible as I am. So you're going to wrap a towel or a jumper around your feet, pull your toes back, and try and sit up as straight as you can like I am here, keeping the knees straight. Now, we're going to use contract, relax again. So from here, we're going to contract the quads and hip flexors, try and pull our chest forward. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we contract the hamstrings. Pull the feet down into the ground hard. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then again, the quads, hip flexors, pulling your chest forward. 2, 3, 4, 5. Now relax. And then the hamstrings, pulling the feet down into the ground. 2, 3, 4, 5. And now for a passive stretch at the end. So we're going to grab on and really just try and pull our chest forward as much as we can and keep those knees straight. Try to avoid rounding your back. Try to avoid going down like this. Try and pull your chest forward. Okay? So we're doing a 30-second passive stretch at the end. And now what you would do, if you're doing this as a proper stretching routine, you'd do 3 sets of this. So you'd do the 10-second compression lift, and then followed by the contract, relax, 2 reps of 5 seconds contract, relax, and antagonist contract, or AKA crack, C-R-A-C, and then a 30-second passive stretch at the end. All right, so that would be for your front splits. Now for the middle splits, okay, this is where it gets fun. So for the middle splits, what we're going to do, we're going to use this end range contraction again, and we're going to do a lift like this. I'm just going to make sure I'm not going to hit anything in here. So we're going to lift that leg as high as you can. And the idea is that we're using the glutes to lift the knee up and try to externally rotate. So we want the foot to go below the knee. We don't want to lift like that. Okay, that's not really going to help us much in the middle splits. And we want to try to avoid our body leaning away. We want to really be getting into the glutes. So we're going to do a 10-second hold here. So from here, go. Come on, let's go. Work for it. Come on, that's halfway. Come on, let's go. Get those glutes going. Come on. Woo! And now we'll change sides. Let's go. Up, 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 up. Come on. Work for it. Let's go. And there we go. Okay, and now what we're going to do, because this is a really safe way to develop middle splits after surgery, we're going to use cossack squats. So from here, we're basically doing the middle splits on one side of the leg. If you're not as flexible as me, go down like this, hold onto a bench, whatever you want, okay? And if you're a bit more flexible, you can get your feet flat on the ground. And now from here, what we're going to do with this leg is actively pull ourselves deeper to the ground. So it's hard to see what I'm doing, but I'm actively pulling down. Go, pulling in, hard. Okay. Now we're going to use this leg and try to lift it actively off the ground. So we use the glutes again. Go, 2, 3, 4, 5. And now we're going to pull this leg into the ground for 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay? And then we change sides. So from here, actively pulling ourselves down into the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, relax. Now this leg actively pulling up using the glutes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Actively pulling down into the ground. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then what you can do is you can open your own legs up as wide as you can get them, okay, by you actively using your muscles. So it's not a passive stretch, to get into that splits and see where you can go, okay? So these concepts of antagonistic muscle contraction or end range contraction paired with loaded flexibility is the best way to stretch for the front splits or middle splits after hip surgery. Because the thing is, you don't want to be trying to create passive flexibility, because the joint has become weakened and we need strength to make it strong. So you can get stronger and more flexible with those exercises, the back squat, cossack squat, and split squats. But routines like this are really, really good for developing flexibility in a safe way. And I've got a really good dedicated middle splits routine and front splits routine. And if you click or tap the screen there, you can join in with me in real time to get that done. If you like the video, please click the like, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in that next video.